Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be a tough one though.
What do with we talked a little bit, or you mentioned earlier a bit on the youth. There has been with Mike and Steve, and who I've met uh, briefly, but there has been some interest with youth getting back into some culture. Do you see that happening more in the future? What do you think the future is going? How do you think things are going? You think it's generally getting slowly becoming more positive, or
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I think the casino has a lot to do with that. It's slowly becoming more popular, and I'm hoping that it doesn't just boom. You know, I hope it keeps going slowly, because if it keeps going slowly, we'll find more and more people that are interested. But if it just booms in, it'll be like a fad, and everybody will leave and quit.
yeah?
And I don't want to see that. I would rather see one or two or three, even if it takes only three people in my life, the rest of my life, to try to do something. Then those three people might get three more people. But if we see a big fad thing coming through, unfortunately, that's not going to look very good, because chances are everybody will fade away. And hopefully, I was just hearing somebody, and maybe I'm talking too soon, but I'm hoping that there's a gentleman that my grandma worked with for a lot of years, that he's apparently teaching this Listeño to the Pachanga people out there, and he's learned Cahuilla. We're hoping that he can come over here and teach the same way. And if he does, then maybe we can get a few more people over here to try to speak Cahuilla. Because I know there's some young people that want to.
What's his name? Do you know?
Eric Elliott.
Okay.
Elliott.
Do you know? I was just talking to last night. Family friend, guy I've known basically since I was born. We ended up going out to that game, and Blankenship, who's teaching. I don't know if he said it was Serrano or Cahuilla. I think he said Serrano, but I guess he said he lives in Banning. He's a tribal member.
I've heard that name, Blankenship.
Okay, he's a tribal member, and he says he teaches people the language. He's a son-in-law of I don't think it's my family friend's daughter, but one of his relations.
Mm-hmm.
He's out here. The first time I heard about it, I wish I heard about it.
Is it Steve? Is it first name or what?
Maybe.
I don't know. I can't remember.
But Blankenship's last name. He's a tribal member. And he mentioned this last night, and I guess he's a younger guy, probably my age, your age, somewhere around, I don't know. We're not dead yet. But anyways, yeah, he's teaching people, and my friend ended up saying that he's getting some people. I think he's been down on Saboba teaching and some other areas. I don't know if it's the Luiseno. Like I said, I wish I knew more about it. I don't even know why I bring it up right now.
There's some kids that, like I said, that want to learn. But it's kind of dangerous to be doing stuff like that, but especially with the young kids. In certain reservations, they get very offended. And that's the kind of things we should be teaching each other to stop. And try to come together, because the more people drift away from each other, the harder it is for us to come back together and to remember how it was. So I think we should be starting on these young kids right now, the younger ones, the little guys, you know what I mean? Start showing them the rocks, or what they're called, this and that, and continue from them, and kind of like let the other ones come this way. Let them decide to come, because if we go out and push this to these young kids, they get offended, they take offense,
Yeah.
because if one of them knows more than the other, then the other one gets mad, or a little jealousy things happen in their head, because they behave like normal kids nowadays, you know what I mean? Instead of the way they would have if they would have learned this stuff a long time ago. And so I think it's more or less up to the people who are teaching them to find some way to get into these little guys' heads and let them understand that it's good to be proud of who you are. It's a good thing. It's bad to not want to be who you are, because you lose things that you don't realize we're losing. Unfortunately, that's happening. We can see what's happening. So what we need to do now, like especially for people like myself, and I don't really want to take this responsibility, but unfortunately, it's not up to me. It's not up to me. Maybe I want it to be, but it's not up to me. It's for myself to look and see who it is. Maybe just one person to show, or to try to sing with. You know what I mean? It's easier to teach the bird songs, or it's easier to teach them how to say hello, than it is to rearrange their thoughts when they're already like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they already want to play that iPod or whatever they want to play. They want to play an Xbox instead of sitting here with me while we're telling a story, or we're singing a song, because they're hard. Their attention span. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to deal with kids like that. I really don't. So, like I say, I think it'd be better to find the young kids that are little guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And walk around with them and show them how the plants, or just find some other different way to keep their interest. It's kind of tricky.
It was cool last weekend when I was here. There was it was Saturday. Two guys came in, and one guy with his boy. I think his boy. God, I don't know kids well. You know, I don't have any yet, so I don't know what they look like. He looked like he was probably 4. A little kid hanging out with his dad, and they came in, and Dad bought him a couple of the books for the younger kids from the press that's run through the museum here. Got to add that bit for explanation, but he was asking about he was Luiseno. He was asking about the book that you have for Cahuilla language. He was asking because I guess the press used to put out a book on Luiseno, and it's out of print right now. And what Lori was saying, by the way, Lori's a worker here. Lori was saying that if enough people showed interest in it, they'd put it back in the press. And so I remember Lori was talking last week with Elaine about possibly getting some more copies of that book run, because 2 people came in last week, 2 Luiseno tribal members, and was it Luiseno tribal members? Was that, would you call that, or call them by the name of Rez, or?
Yeah, mostly by the Rez.
By the Rez.
Yeah.
Anyways, they were asking about the Luiseno books, and unfortunately they didn't have it. But they both came in, and God, between them, I think they blew about 200 books on books to basically get for themselves and for their kids. I only saw one of them, but the other guy had kids too.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I think you're right with trying to instill that pride. When you're a kid, when you're young, kind of like when you had the doings, the fall gathering. You had the girls that came out from the school in Riverside, the Sherman School. They were from all over. There were girls from Oregon. There were some girls that were Hopi and Navajo, and then some local. And from my understanding, that school back in the day, it wasn't all that great because, but it seems to have kind of come around and trying to teach. Well, it's not even trying. They're definitely teaching, kids more of their history.
Yeah.
And
I have to
are they getting that with because the background here for my instructor, they did on the Morongo Reservation. I heard they ended up putting a K through 8 school, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to get a K-12, the high school going in now.
I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not quite sure. I just know that their schools are right over here, right down the road, and sometimes it's kind of cool to hear them all screaming and laughing. Having a good old time, because it wasn't like that before. And it's the neatest thing to know that
they're taking that control.
They're actually, yes, they're taking it, and they're pulling their kids out of the modern schools, because once they're here, they have the option to teach them what they choose to teach them. And that could be from learning how to make fry bread to learning how to put a feather the correct way, or how to do beadwork, or how to speak their language. You know what I mean? And I think that's wonderful, because they're giving the young kids, the little guys, opportunity to be in a manner that none of us got the opportunity to really be. You know what I mean? Because being out there in those normal schools, you learn actually selfishness, big time selfishness, and you learn to be there's another way. Well, selfishness explains that quite a bit of it, because that's all they think about, and they think about what I want to do, when the reality is that it's what we should do. I mean, what we should do, because I know I may be the one in this body, but together, not just me, but together with other people, we can accomplish a lot of things. We can make a whole village one more time by teaching these young kids how to grow up and to care about one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what they can teach them over here in this school. And hopefully they are, because I'm not going over there to find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll wrap this up. Just some random thoughts. What do you think? How do you feel for future with your singing, your place with the organization here, the museum, the tribe, overall everything? Like what would you positive, or how you feeling about the future with stuff?
You know what? Very positive. I'm feeling very, very positive, kind of like tingly, because the fact is that what some people would like to do to make a dinner for not just myself, but the 2 other guys that are singing with me.
Yeah.
And that is so exciting. When not long ago, there was not much promise. Before these casinos came in, before things started happening, before things